There's just going to be so many different people that we can now work with, right? Because we're sort of being very vanilla, and everyone likes vanilla, right? Hey everyone, it's Ashley Bradley, the Intuitive Business Coach, and I had a question come up on one of my live readings last week. It was more of like a mention, and I was like, yes, that's a really good topic that I'm gonna create a video about, because I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with, and it is surrounding how to move forward with a business that incorporates spirituality when you feel like there's a lot on the line, a lot that you're risking in terms of what other people might think about, what your friends and family might say. I think for some people it might even be around like the viability of it. Is this like too weird? Am I taking this too far? Is this something that's still going to make me money? So there's a few things that I just want to address, and things that I would probably bring up. Obviously, if this was a coaching situation and I was coaching you, it wouldn't just be me talking at you and teaching you, but really helping you get to the core of this. But since you're not talking back to me today, I'll just point out a few different perspectives and areas that I want you to be thinking about, because in order for you to get past this, ultimately you need to shift your perspective. You need to think your way, or shift your way of thinking about it, so that you can start to move forward. And we can't talk about this topic without bringing up the idea of the inner critic. And if it's the first time that you've heard this term inner critic, I'm sure that you're familiar with yours, even if you don't have a name for it. It is all of those what ifs that come up, right? Those parts of you that think that they can tell the future, not because they're psychic, right? Because they're just very much coming from a place of fear and wanting to keep you in the same place. So just a quick little overview of the inner critic. The inner critic is an outdated survival mechanism. We all have it as human beings, and it's something that continuously we have this going on in our life. I feel like no matter who you are, how successful you are, if you are someone that is continuously getting out of your comfort zone and trying new things and not just sticking to the safety of what was, then your inner critic's going to be active. So it's not so much about getting rid of it, it's about understanding it, knowing that it's just a part of us and the way that we're wired as human beings, and really having some like tools and perspectives that help you get past it. So if we're looking at this idea of like coming out of the spiritual closet, right? It could be your inner critic is saying, well, people are going to think that you are just totally nuts. Or what if you offend people? Not everyone has the same beliefs as you. What if you offend people because you're putting this out there, that you end up kind of shutting off these different relationships or these people in your life that don't believe the same thing. So those are just some examples of the endless possibilities that your inner critic might be saying. But I do want you to take time, like later today, now, whenever you can, to actually journal about this and just ask yourself, what are the messages that my inner critic is telling me? What are the things that they're making up about what might happen, right? Because they're really good about making up what might happen. And it sounds very convincing, right? So the inner critic's job is really just to keep you in the same place. We're really only wired for survival, not for living our best, most awesome lives. So your inner critic thoughts are going to be anything that stops you from moving outside of the comfort zone, and it keeps you exactly where you're at from making any kind of a change. So get familiar with that and expect and know that this is going to happen. And if you're ever unclear of, okay, well, because I've heard people say this, is what if it's just like logic? What if these thoughts are, they're actually true? You can find out by checking in and saying, Is this a belief, a thought that is moving me forward towards this greater vision of what I want to create in my life? Is this moving me towards my values, my purpose, who I am at my core? If it's not, it's inner critic, right? So just a good little kind of checkpoint for you to see where the thought is coming from, if it's based in these fears and these sort of stories that we're good at making up. I will tell you that what I do, I can't say that the things that I made up about blending my spirituality and my healing gifts, right? My intuitive readings with my business. I can honestly say that everything that I made up about it did not end up to be true. It's not like everyone is excited to, in my family, right, and wants me to give them a reading. And there's been some awkward moments at family gatherings and reunions. And I mentioned this briefly on the live that I do have a family of in-laws where many of them have a very Catholic foundation with their faith. There's an uncle, an in-law uncle that is actually a Catholic priest. So during the last family gathering a few months back, maybe 6 months ago, I decided to bring my deck, my tarot deck, and it's actually an angel tarot deck, and there was definitely multiple occasions where the family's hanging out and I'm pulling out the tarot deck. So I'll tell you, there's mixed reactions. There's people that get very excited and they're like, yes, like I want to do a reading. And there's other people that just choose to go to bed, right? Or if I'm talking about experiences or my session with a medical intuitive, they sort of look at you and nod and they're like, oh, and they walk away and they excuse themselves. So really what I stay rooted in that keeps me okay with all of that happening is that I don't take things personally, that I know that the thoughts and beliefs and perspectives of other people, even the opinions about me from other people, whether they're families or friends, that it actually doesn't mean anything about me, that's just their own perception, that those beliefs belong to them, and that it doesn't mean anything about me. So I really take that one from the Four Agreements very seriously and very much to heart. And if I ever notice, since I am human, that my feelings start to get hurt, I examine that and I look at that and I ask myself, well, what part of me needs this to be anything different than what it is? Because every experience or challenge that we face like that, it really just allows us to be opening to growth a little bit further. So inner critics, not taking things personally. And another favorite thing that I have adopted from Abraham Hicks that I say to myself often is, what other people think of you is none of your business. And I say that to myself often. I will tell you, just in terms of perspectives on business, I know that our inner critic makes up a lot of different things about who is going to not want to work with us if we are bringing our full selves forward to the table. We like to make up that if we play it very safe, that there's just going to be so many different people that we can now work with, right? Because we're sort of being very vanilla, and everyone likes vanilla, right? But there is a lot of vanilla out there in the world. So I always talk to people about leading with their magic, because it's so absolutely necessary, not only for your own fulfillment and being fully expressed in who you are, but just from a business perspective, that when you're playing it safe and you are really just being what you think everybody wants, you are creating so much competition for yourself. You are creating so much, there's so many people being vanilla, right? You sort of create and make it really hard for your people, the people that you're meant to work with, to be able to find you and locate you and understand, wow, like this is the person that I've been looking for. But when you do what I call leading with your magic and you just bring all parts of you to the table within your business, there's people that are looking for exactly you and the way that you do it. And that's exactly your brand. Is if you combine and bring everything together, there's no one out there. There might be millions of tarot readers or Reiki masters or whatever it is that you do, but when you bring all of you to the table, there's no one that has that exact combination. And that's your magic. That's when the inflow of abundance starts happening. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And I want you to, here's another journal question. What's the cost of not following your dream and your mission? Because I know that there's a lot of fears around what might happen if I do it. What might happen if you don't do it? I really want you to look there because I'm all about looking at all sides of a situation, and you can't really fully see what's on the line here unless you look at all sides. So I'll leave you with that, and I would love for you, if you have any requests or questions, I'd love to keep the conversation going in the comments. Subscribe to my channel. I want you to hear about all the new videos that I'm making, and let me know what you want me to talk about. Let me know what your questions are, because I would love to create something for you. So, bye everybody. I'll see you soon.